Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be talking about the Charlotte Hornets and who they will draft. So before we start today's video, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. If you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, who do you think they should draft with both of their picks? And yeah, let me know your thoughts, because right now this is a team that currently has 3 picks in the draft, so all 3 of their picks. Let me hear your thoughts. But I think the Hornets need to add some perimeter defenders and some athleticism at the guard and wing position. I believe the Hornets, Charles Lee, would like to add a player to help improve their defense, especially around LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. I assume Trey Mann's going to be coming back. Now, my assumption is more than likely VJ Edgecombe is going to be the draft pick, and they're going to be deciding between VJ Edgecombe, Con Knipple, Trey Johnson as the main guys. I know some people are going to be like, what about Kaman Mawaj or whoever it may be, but I do think for the Hornets, VJ Edgecombe is the odds-on favorite and fits Charlotte's need for a two-way backcourt partner next to LaMelo Ball. We saw what Trey Mann, a defensive-minded combo guard, would look like next to LaMelo, and is fantastic. And I think Edgecombe could be that and better, and they bring back Trey Mann to help mentor him. Edgecombe brings explosive athleticism, strong defensive instincts, and the ability to impact the game. He's a guy who averaged, like 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals a night, while shooting like 34% from 3, which allowed him to keep defenses honest. He's a guy who has a 6'5" frame with a near 6'10" wingspan and a disruptive style. Edgecombe can guard up and down the lineup, something the Hornets have lacked on the perimeter. While he's not a pure shooter, his energy, switchable defense, and playmaking give Charlotte a plug-and-play piece who can grow with their young core. Now, Con Knipple, coming out of Duke, would give the Hornets a light-out shooter and a smart secondary playmaker, a guy who was able to shoot 40% from 3 and also play some defense. He thrives moving off screens and spaces the floor at an elite level. He'd be able to play between LaMelo and Brandon Miller, which would allow them to have some more room to operate. Defensively, he competes, but his lack of elite quickness might be a concern against top NBA offensive players. Still, if Charlotte wants to turbocharge its offense and get more spacing, high IQ passing with some defensive ability, Con Knipple is one of the safest bets in this class. He slots right into a movement-heavy offense and instantly raises the team's shooting floor. The third option could be Trey Johnson, which would give Charlotte the purest bucket getter on the board, a guy who averaged 20 points and almost 40% from 3 at Texas. He's a tough shot maker at all 3 levels. He's got a 6'10" wingspan, which allows him to get his shot off from anywhere. He thrives both on and off the ball, ideal for a team that could be looking for more scoring punch off the bench or even in their starting unit, while also giving you a player who can play the 2 and the 3. Playmaking as a floor general and his defense are still developing, but if the Hornets want some dynamic scoring alongside Ball and Miller, Johnson would be a great third fiddle, as his shot creation and movement shooting check all the boxes for a modern offense. I guess like you have Miles Bridges there, but I assume they'd move off of him eventually. They could go after Jeremiah Fears if they do decide to move off of LaMelo Ball, or if they just want someone to give them potentially instant offense as a 6-man, but he struggles from deep, and I just don't think he fits that win now approach. So with their other picks, I think they're going to go Edgecombe or Knipple, and that's kind of like a 2 or a 3. With that, I could see them going for a big, but Noah Pendo would be another guy. I think a forward like a Drake Powell, a Hugh Gonzalez, or a Noah Pendo would be huge for them. Even a Duthiero, just somebody to be an athletic player, to be able to play the 3 or the 4, kind of play the positions that, or fill the gap that Tejan Saloon left. As we all know, Tejan Saloon was a terrible bust, but yeah, I would just try to get like an athletic player who can play the 4 and the 3, or the 3 and the 4, maybe small ball 5, and that would be probably Noah Penda. I would, Drake Powell and a Duthiero are athletic guys that I think you should always take a chance on, especially if it's your second pick. Just, you can't teach athleticism and size and length like that. Now, with their third pick, I think it all depends on what they do, because to me, I think, because it's back-to-back, I wouldn't be surprised if they go big. And this year's bigs, I mean, a Yannick, Conan Niederhauser, a Ryan Kalkbrenner, who else would be considered? Would Vlad Golden, would that be too early for him? Potentially, but I think they would be interested in getting a backup big, especially after trading Nick Richards. That's a position of need for them. So would not put it past me to see them to go out and get a backup big if they did go like BJ Hitchcomb, and then maybe draft a Hugo Gonzalez, Drake Powell, or Noah Penda, or a Duthiero. I could also see them going Walter Clayton if he falls that far, or Ben Seraph to give him a backup point guard. But as centers, Ryan Kalkbrenner, maybe a Janai Barum, Yannick Conan Niederhauser, or Rocco Zikarsky are all guys who could be backup bigs. And yeah, I think they're second round picks, bigs, and probably an older player. That's another thing. I think getting a guy who can come in and be a plug and play, I'd assume this team would be wanting to make the push for the play-in at least. And I don't think they want to be waiting around for guys to develop after, especially after seeing what happened with Tejan Saloon. I think Tejan Saloon is the definition of like why sometimes, yeah, like you can take a risk of bringing in a guy, but like sometimes when you take those risks, it doesn't always pan out, because what ends up happening is like those guys are a lot rawer than we anticipate, and that leads to them just not being as good as you would hope. And I mean, Tejan Saloon can like change my mind, but I think obviously I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, if LaMelo Ball isn't getting the entire team high, then like a lot of things would be different, but that's here nor there. I think this is definitely a situation where they need defense. They need guys who can help play without the ball in their hands, who are going to fit Charles Lee's system, which is spacing the floor and attacking in transition, and then just giving room to operate for Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, and Brandon Miller. So, I mean, that's basically my thoughts on that one. I think that it's pretty straightforward with what those teams want to do and why. But yeah, like I think it's curious with everything that's happening, what is the best course of action for a team if they're looking to improve their roster like the Hornets. I think you need to look at what the Pistons did. Bring shooting, bring defense, and have guys who will compete on both ends of the floor, who will play unselfish, and will help the team win without the ball in their hands.